Hey, 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 welcome back to another episode. Today I want to talk about boundaries. I think it's just something that aligns with everything I'm doing right now in my life. And I know so many people struggle with healthy boundaries or knowing what healthy boundaries are, or like how to even navigate through them, especially when it's like people that we've been friends with for a while or family, right? And so, like, when is it like not healthy anymore? When do you have to say, okay, this relationship isn't serving either of us anymore, or it's only serving them, it's not serving you. And you've got to really think about when I say serving, I mean it's doing good for you. I mean, giving you, it's aligning, it's giving you things you need for your future self. It's part of the things that you are equipped with. And sometimes we are faced with relationships or things that come up, and we have to decide if those align with our goals and if there are boundaries that need to be made if we do decide to say yes, or even if we decide to say no. Because saying no is just as an important boundary as saying yes. Um, and so let's explain a little bit what boundaries are first off. So it's the limits we set for ourselves to protect our well-being, our and feel safe, respected, and valued. So we're protecting our well-being. We want to feel safe. We want to feel respected, and we want to feel valued. These can be physical, emotional, mental. They can include asking a partner or a roommate not to interrupt you when you're working, limiting how much time and energy you give to others, saying no when you're uncomfortable or overwhelmed, asking for space when you need time alone, communicating your needs directly and respectfully, being able to walk away from someone who doesn't respect your boundaries, right? Boundaries are an important part of your healthy relationships, your mental health, and your physical well being. They can help you maintain your identity and feel safe, respected, and valued. When I realized when I realized I did not have healthy boundaries, was after I started doing personal development. After I started doing the work on myself, I would say yes to everybody. I don't know how to say no. I would say absolutely say yes to everybody, and then I would get burnout, or I'd get overwhelmed or overstimulated, and I would get frustrated, and the vibration would just drop, right? I would get so annoyed or so overwhelmed, but I was the one who said yes. Like, I took on this responsibility, but it was something that I either A, hadn't prepared myself for, or B, didn't ask questions because I was too afraid to ask questions. And so it's great to say yes. Saying yes is something that we want to say to things, right? Especially when they align with our where we're headed in life and like our goals and the things we want to obtain in our life, right? The things we're going after, the things we want to attract. But when you say yes, you've got to make sure that you're preparing yourself and that you're doing what you need to do to perform the yes, right? To be able to finish the yes. Yes, you may have mistakes. Yes, there may be problems along the way. Yeah, there might be things that happen, glitches and this and that, like technical errors, like things happen. But you want to make sure that you're being the student and you're asking any questions if you have any questions before you take on the responsibility, to make sure it's something you truly want to do. You need to make sure that you've allotted enough time and given the boundaries to other people, because other people are going to try to get in the way of the yes, right? So you want to make sure that you're communicating effectively, that you're being responsible for this, right? And then you want to be the student and study, and that way you can become the teacher so other people can become the student of what it is that you're going to share. And so I hope that helps define a little bit of how you can prepare yourself to set those boundaries, because I know for me, I struggled in that area. I was afraid to ask questions and I was afraid to ask for help. I had hit a point because I was 3 years old when I started getting violated and lost my respect, and like nobody respected me from the time I was 3 years old and to all the way through until I was in my 40s. And still today, there's still people who still struggle with the respect. Okay. Um, and so what did I do? Like, how did I go overcome that? Well, I put up a lot of masks and I just put on a new mask and I would people please and I would say yes to everything and I would drain my energy and I would leave no room for self-care. I would leave no room for sleep. I would leave no room for downtime to just go have to enjoy things I love or just sitting and enjoying quiet time. Like I left no room for that. And I just drained my energy, right? I drained my battery physically, emotionally, mentally. I just was spent. Okay. And so what I did is I started having to set days where I just did no work and I did nothing work related. And I just set those days and their intentional time. Sometimes it's time during the week, on weekdays, and then sometimes it's just a full weekend. Um, but it just depends on what my schedule is going to be and like where I'm at and what I'm doing, right? But what I'm getting at is you have to schedule things out and decide like what I had to learn was I had to get organized. I was not in an organizational state, which means that there was no order. There was no order in my life. And if you want boundaries, you need order. And people don't even explain this sometimes. Like you don't even get these two together, but it's true. If you want boundaries, you need order. And so for me, I had no order in my life. Everything was fly by wire, especially after for like from 2017 to 2019, shoot, even to like 2020 still. I was doing the fly by wire life. And that was like, and I think I still stayed that way until last year, to be honest, in 2023, because our granddaughter had leukemia and she was diagnosed at 9 months old in 2017. And we went all the way until July, end of July of 2019, when we lost her to that battle. And so during that journey, it was fly by wire. There were moments, it didn't matter 24/7, midnight, 11 o'clock, 8 p.m., 7 in the morning, 4 in the morning. It didn't matter. My daughter was calling me for something, whether it was an emergency or just my granddaughter needed somebody to talk to, or my daughter needed somebody to talk to. They were in the hospital for the first stay, 2 weeks shy of 1 year in a children's hospital in Portland, Oregon. And so like there were a lot of moments where, my kids and I, my three younger kids and I, got a hotel, and we got a hotel, and we literally, they have the Ronald McDonald House, and my daughter and her spouse at the time and her daughter were staying there, and we would stay like a whole week at that hotel, and I would just, pay for the hotel for that week, and we would just live there basically in Portland, Oregon with them for that week while she was going treatments, or she was out of the hospital for a little bit in between treatments, just to spend quality time together. And I'm so grateful we did, right? I'll never, ever, ever play down like how important those memories and those moments were for all of us. I am so grateful that I took the time and set the boundaries with other people to do these things, right? But the hardest part was that fly by wire life, because there was really no order, lots of chaos, and we tried to keep it as calm as we could, and we didn't plan a lot of things because we just didn't know where life was going to go moment to moment. I would make a doctor's appointment, or we'd make a fun event, like something planned for the kids and Sean and I, and next thing you know, something was happening, we'd have to change plans. And so we did that quite a bit. Like that was a big thing. And so it took us a little bit to get back into a normalcy, some sort of normalcy in our life, because that just was not normal. Um, that definitely was, um, it might be normal for some people though, because some people may have that lifestyle still, because if you have special needs, anything, you can understand and relate to that. And and so now we're in a place, this last year, we're in a place where we can create a space, right? And we can set those boundaries, and we do have more order. We created like a monthly menu for the dinner menu. I didn't think that that would create such an order in our life, or it would like work, to be honest with you. I was really worried about setting that boundary, but it's been incredible. It's helped me stay on top of grocery shopping, right? What's needed for the meals, plus the in-betweens. It's helped me also see like getting creative with our food again and having fun with our meals, getting the kids and Sean involved in the meal process and the prep and like all the process, grocery shopping together. Like it's created these moments where there's order, but there's also like harmony and there's balance and there's less chaos. And so I noticed that that is something that I've really, really liked being able to do. I think we're going to do that again um, in November because the holiday's coming. We're going to be throwing a, family holiday dinner for Thanksgiving and like all these things. And and so it's like just having that order and that balance is just so nice, right? Now, when you're creating boundaries, these can be work related, they can be personal, they can literally be something that you for yourself, like I'm working on setting boundaries for myself. And the boundaries for myself are that I am not allowing anything outside of my body, which means my mind and my spirit and my emotions, right? My physical body, and my spirit and my mind and my emotions. I'm not allowing anything outside of that to be disrupting those. And what I mean by that is if somebody says something to me that I don't like, my healthy boundary response is to just walk away. I'm not going to reply. I'm not going to give them a response, or I'm not going to react. I don't want to react at all. And the first thing that I would do is react, not respond. So if I can't respond, I don't want to say anything. And so I don't want to be reactive. I want to be responsive. Responsive gives me a solution. Reaction and reactive usually creates more chaos. It's usually not the thinking brain that's giving you that. The response is the thinking brain, and you want to take time to think about what someone has said before you go responding. So if I can't do that, I'm just going to politely exit. I'm also not going to be afraid to leave a room if it doesn't elevate me. And what I mean by that is my energy. Um, I cannot surround myself with low vibrating people anymore. And I have to acknowledge that. And I have to respect that. And I also have to respect that not everybody around me is going to be high vibrating all the time. And so it's important that I'm high vibrating and that I'm not letting the low vibrating people outside of me be disrupting my high vibration, my energy level, my happiness, my joy. Um, and so I'm going to ask for space when I need the time alone. I'm going to say no when it's not going to serve myself or my team or my family or my goals, and when I can't serve someone else in return. I want to give service. Mike, the whole point of pardon me, the whole point of hitting goals is to give service. Like the whole point is to grow into your best self 1% better each day and to give service. And so I want to do things and I want to be around people that are going to elevate me, that are going to help me rise up and grow and become my best self. And so that's what I want to surround myself with. Um, I am going to limit my time with energy suckers. I have to pay attention to the energy I give to others. So this coming Monday, for example, this coming Monday through, I want to say Thursday, I have a workshop I'm doing with my life coach. And I want to make sure that I'm giving all the time needed to her because she's spending her time with me, but also to just be the student and absorb repetition, learn new things, and really just grasp into what can I get from this. And in order to do that, I've got to actually adjust my schedule this coming week because I overlapped one or two of my appointments and I don't want to do that. Like if I'm just being transparent, I don't want to overlap those because I want to give her that time and I want to set those healthy boundaries. Um and so it's just important for me to think about those things, right? That's part of my emotional and my mental health, but also my physical because it all ties together. And so it's important that if you're setting healthy boundaries, you're communicating your needs. And that was something I struggled with. Confrontation was something I had a weak point in. And I was really rough around the edges. I'm just going to be transparent. And I um, really had a hard time with explaining things without upsetting people or without offending them or, hurting their feelings. I didn't realize that that also had to do with them, not just so much as me. It's how they perceive things. But I could have been more tactful. You know what I mean? I could have been a little more softer around the edges, a little more fine tuned if I would have taken time to think more about what I wanted to say. And when you allow your reactive brain to reply back, you're not being responsive the way that you can be if you're allowing your emotions to just take a minute, think about it, pause, don't react, just wait. And you can wait days if you need to wait to the next day to respond, do so. But somebody who is successful doesn't wait forever. They make those decisions, but I'm not saying that they jump to conclusions. I'm saying that they sit there, they think about it for a minute, and they decide, does this align with where I want to go? Does this line up with where I'm headed? Does this feel right? Does this feel good? Is this easy and does it flow effortlessly? Does it bring me joy? These are questions you should be asking yourself. And we don't ask ourselves these things. We just do it because someone said we had to do it, or we just suck it up because it's what's on the list, right? Or someone, it's to keep this or that. But you really have to your boundaries is almost your moral compass. And if you're willing to just allow people to step all over those boundaries, then where's your moral compass at? That tells them that you don't even respect yourself or value yourself. And so they feel like if you don't do it, then why should they? And how I can say this is because I look back at examples in my life and relationships that I was in. And those relationships, I didn't set any healthy boundaries right off the bat in the beginning. And because I didn't set those healthy boundaries, um I realized that it was partially on me. You know what I mean? Like I could blame other people, but ultimately at the end of the day, I was the one who did not set those limits and those boundaries and say, hey, I don't want to be talked to this way. I want to be talked to like this. Hey, I would like to have a say. I do have a voice. I do have an opinion and I do want to be a part of this. Right? Or no, this makes me uncomfortable and overwhelmed. I'm going to say no right now. Sometimes if you're not communicating your needs directly and respectfully, then people are not going to take you seriously, but you also have to understand that sometimes those just aren't your people. And if you have, you know, given it your all and you just feel like every time you're around that person, you leave the conversation or you leave the time with them together and you're just drained and you have a headache and you're tired and your stomach hurts. You don't feel good. You feel exhausted. Those are all really good signs to say that you either need to limit your time and energy that you give to them, or you need to cut that person off. And I'm going to tell you that's hard, but so many negative people, their negative vibration, the things that are coming out of their mouth, their thoughts, the things they post on social media, like what they're saying and doing to other people, the gossip, the complaining, like, oh my gosh, all of those things will lower your vibration. All of those things, the doubt, the fears, the worrying about what everybody else is doing or worrying about what people are going to say of you, worrying about other people's opinions, like all these things, they're draining. They drain you physically, emotionally, spiritually. They drain you. They drain you so much that mentally you just can't do it and you suffer burnout. And and you have to realize is that you have a choice. You don't have to accept those things. You don't have to put up with things like that. You don't have to live like that. And so it's up to you to decide. You can ask them, "Hey, this is, something that I'm working on and you can work on it with me." And then they get to decide, like, if they don't want to work on that with you, and if you're not saying that they need to, you're just offering it because you're doing it, right? And if that's not something that they see that they need to fix, then you probably should take a break from them. It doesn't have to be permanent, it can be temporary, but you probably should limit your time with them, especially if you're ready to work on yourself, because it's not going to improve you if you have them in your circle. You can love them from afar. And so boundaries are something that I literally struggled with. But this last year, I made some huge decisions last year and this year to just cut out a lot of people in my life. And it wasn't easy, but it was a lot of people that I realized were energy suckers and were literally using me in some way, shape, or form. And then were only coming to me when they wanted to A, gossip, B, complain, or C, wanted to use me. And so I just decided that those weren't the value in people that I wanted, the qualities and friendships that I wanted. I want quality friendships. I want people who I can do life with. I want people who are going to love on other people. I want people who love Jesus. I want people who absolutely fall in love with the process of doing self-development and bettering themselves. I want people who are making progress 1% better each day. I want people who are focusing on the good. I want people whose perceptive is that their glass is overflowing. And so I'm looking for people to either grow with me to become that person like I am, or people who are at that level and who are still working on themselves. I want people who do self-development and who do self-care and who love, making money and helping people. And I say that in a beautiful way because money is so good for us. I used to learn part of healthy boundaries was learning that money is it's currency and it's something we use and it's something that comes and goes and it flows so freely. But if you don't love it, it's never going to come and attract to you. And it's not being greedy by saying I love money. I love what money can do for people. I love what I can do to help people with that money. I love what I can do to grow and change lives with that money. And so there's just beautiful things attached to that that just are so gorgeous that are just, I detach myself from it all, but it's just so gorgeous to see it all unfold. You know what I mean? And so just like the beautiful things that, you know, can be created when you're open and receptive to things and when you're willing to be open to abundance and just so much love it for life, right? For what you're doing. I also want to attract people who are following their desires and who are really doing like their dream jobs and the things that they absolutely have been passionate about. Like I want those burning desire people and those who want that, because there may be somebody who's searching for that too, right? And so I'm just looking for those people who are growing and who are evolving. And for me, like, I just think that's just the most beautiful thing in the world. And so I'm excited for the new connections all the time, right? But those come with setting those boundaries. Those come with choosing like where you're gonna like settle basically. Because for me, I used to always settle for less than I deserved. And I would never give myself standards. And now that I'm raising my standards, I'm choosing healthier boundaries. And so your standards will raise. And what I mean by standards is how you, um, I'll just get the definition of it so we don't, it's the level of quality. So like my quality has increased. Does that make sense? So, um, my standards have elevated and I want to attain higher standards and I want to, rise up. I want to be um, this woman who changes lives and helps people better themselves and in all areas of their life, who helps them become their most authentic self, who helps them get healthier. These are things that I aspire to do. And if I don't raise my standards, then I'm just going to be like, somebody else just sitting there waiting for it to happen. And I don't want to wait for it to happen. I know it's going to happen. I know the right people are coming. I'm super excited for that. but it's me choosing to level up my standards, to have healthier boundaries, to decide what I'm going to settle for, what quality of life do I want to live, what level do I want to achieve, right? Like, what degree of excitement do I want to bring to the table? Like, there's just so many things. And so, like, I just think that these things are something that we don't really think about enough. And we worry and stress a lot about what other people think if we set a boundary. So I'm going to tell you, like, coming from personal perspective, it took me years to cut off toxic people. I'm talking years. And I knew they were toxic. And I started working on myself almost 5 years ago. December will be 5 years since I started working on myself. And I mean, I guess I started a couple years before that, but really getting intentional and really diving in full time. Okay. Just not like part time, not like sharing a positive meme here and there, but like really diving in, okay, to the self development, reading books, studying it, learning more, doing the things that I'm learning, applying them into my day to day. That started in December of 2019. Um, what I realized was it took a few more years of evolving before I could cut off those toxic people. The reason why was because some of them were still doing the personal development with me, but either they weren't studying or evolving or it wasn't connecting in some way, shape, or form for them because I didn't see a lot of change in our relationship together. And I don't know if it's just because it's our relationship together or if it was just all around all relationships, but I could tell nothing was evolving in some areas with certain people. And I was just like, how can I continue to grow if they're just staying there? And, we're supposed to be elevating together in some way, shape, or form. And so there was a lot of stagnant people around me. And what happened is that created me to become stagnant too for a minute. It had me really questioning myself and questioning things. And so I had to find new tools that could take me out of that rut, that could help me elevate myself. And I had to stop focusing on everybody else around me and like literally block people, close down the doors, shut the hatches, and just work on myself. And it was the best decision I ever made. As hard as it can be, it's so important to shut out the noise. If we're not shutting out the noise, then we're going to stay where we're at. I'm just going to tell you. If you can't shut out the noise, you're going to stay where you're at. But if you can shut out the noise and really start focusing on the things that you're wanting and really start focusing on where you're headed and following those burning desires and not getting distracted by the social media things going on here and this person doing this here and this crap here and this crap here, then you will get there. But the hardest part is a lot of people struggle shutting out the noise. And I was one of those people. So this last year, I've been really focusing on that. I've been really focusing on shutting out the noise. Some of my social media accounts went down. And in the process of them going down, I just looked at it as at first I was kind of freaked out. Pardon me, my allergies are crazy today. At first I was a little freaked out, but then as time went on, I realized it was a blessing because so many strings that I could not cut, no matter how much I tried, were attached to that account, to those accounts. And both personal and professional. And for me, being somebody who's gone through what I've gone through, um, it's nice to have a fresh, clean break. And I'm not going to lie. Those old accounts were attached to my old life, to my old self. I'm not her anymore. And I don't have to live like her anymore. And I don't have to go create content that's like she did. And this is like an opportunity for me to literally rebrand and create myself. And I'm really excited for it. And I've been excited for it. And it's an opportunity for me to grow and to bloom in other areas that I needed to and was stuck and afraid and worried about opinions and like really self-sabotaging myself. But when this happened, it made me sit down and pause. It made me choose healthier boundaries. And it made me like this was your decision day. Like, I basically shoved it in your face now. God basically shoved it right in my face and said, so here we are. I want to grow you. Like, I equipped you. Like, are you ready for this? And I stepped up to the plate and I was just so excited for it. And I feel like that's the best part is like now I'm rebranding, I'm recreating, I'm finding people that can relate to me, who I am today and who I'm becoming. And I'm just super, super damn excited about it. And I think that that's the best part. I started my podcast. I'm almost finished with my first book and I'm actually writing my second book too. Um, and so like I think about those things and I'm just so, so grateful. Actually, I've got 3 books going right now. Ha ha. 3 separate books already, ideas, and a couple chapters are I'm almost done with my first book. A couple chapters are going in the second book, and then I've got all the things prepared for the third book. I just have to start plugging in photos and plugging in the wording, literally, and that's it, and it's done. Um, and then of course, like the content and those kinds of things. But seriously, we're close. Like that is huge. We're close. And so like I think about these things and I'm like, um, these are incredible gifts that I've been given, an opportunity to evolve, an opportunity. These books are, they align. These books I'm writing that I was called to write, they actually have been something I've been avoiding writing since like 2019 or 2020. And I've been asked by multiple people, especially the industry of network marketing that I'm in, being a life coach, I share my story a lot. And there's a lot of things like I could spend all day on a Zoom sharing my story because it's so big. And so sometimes I feel like a lot of the people I serve, they don't get to hear how I overcame things the way that I wish that they could. And they don't get to hear what I went through in my life that made me who I am today. But what did I do to change my self image and what am I doing to change it? Because I'm still working on it every day. Like I'll work on it for the rest of my life. But like, what have I done to be the person I am today? Because I could be a completely different person. And I know that. I know I'm a better person today. Thank God for that. Like, I am so grateful for that. But I work hard for that. But it's so easy and effortlessly. I can't even say I work hard anymore for it. I worked hard for to get here for a long time. Now it comes so easily and effortlessly that I just love who I am today. And I'm so grateful. And I don't say that with any pride. I say that with humility. Like, I'm so humbled that the Lord gave me the things he gave me, the blessings, the lessons, like all the things, but also like he equipped me to be this person that gets to serve and help so many people in my lifetime. And I've been able to see and know where those things are and what's coming. And so I'm excited for them. I'm excited for now. I'm excited for what I get to do today. But I know that by writing this book, it's going to change and impact lives and it's going to help the people I serve. It's going to help them change their life because I'm going to equip them and help them become better equipped. And so I think that that's like the biggest lesson with this book. It wasn't just about sharing my story. It's about how I can impact other people along the way so that they can see that they can heal from what they've gone through and that what they've gone through isn't who they are. And it doesn't decide what they get to do and who they become. And so like for me, like that's the boundaries. I've set those boundaries in place. I've included them in my life. And because of that, I'm rising up now. I'm on a whole different level. And I'm just so grateful. And so I want that for you. What I suggest is if you're working on healthy boundaries, set 1 or 2 at a time. Don't go crazy like I did at the very beginning and just start cutting off people. Like people start freaking out about that. um, I would just focus on what are 2 things that you would like to improve in yourself and those around you. Like, what are some things that are struggling with? So, like, what is you got to look at the things and you don't want to look at the negative so much, but you got to say what isn't working and what is working. Look at the things that are working and they say, okay, what's not working? How can I make these work? And so that gives you an opportunity to brainstorm some ideas on how you would like to improve that. And then how you would like to go from there. So maybe it's I'm going to set this boundary where, this day of the week, I don't take any phone calls and I let it all go to voicemail. And this is my day with like no social media. And it's my day to get out in nature. I love those days. I love those days. And I need to set a day for myself to do that too. Cause I try to set at least once a month, one of those days. If I can do once a week, I totally would. And I may just go to that. Like it just was such a good thing. Like I remember like once a month, I just would not take any phone calls. I would send everything to voicemail. It's like my down day off social media. I don't touch my phone. My phone's just charging. It's just there. I'll do my personal development off of it, but that's about it. And it's hard if you don't do it. It will be hard. You'll feel the tension. You'll feel the um I'm trying to think of the word. You'll feel almost like chaotic. Okay. You're going to feel the contrast. That's what I'm looking for. It's like contrast, right? But soon you're going to it's like a reset for your body. And it's a reset for you. The next day you'll have so much energy and you'll be so excited, and then you'll be excited to go on social media, to go get to the tasks that you need to do, to go focus on the stuff you need to do. I mean, like it is a whole reset, and sometimes I'll take the weekend and do it. I started actually doing that. Not sometimes. I take the weekends and spend a lot of the weekends just especially Sunday, just down. It's my time with Jesus. It's my time to just reflect. It's my time to reflect on my week. It's my free time to prepare for my week coming up and to just rest. And so don't be afraid to set those boundaries for yourself. The world is going to keep spinning, but you can take a day off. You can pause and take a rest. You can set time aside for yourself. There are always going to be people who tell you, oh, I can't take time off. Oh, that would be just too lazy of me. Oh, everything will fall apart. My business would fall apart. My this would fall apart. No, 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 no. I watched my life coach take a month off from her work, and she just got a sub for our twice a week classes that we do with her. She had a sub, and she took the month off and she went to Japan with her family and visited her family, and she had the highest grossing income that month. So that is just proof right there, proof that if she can do it, anyone can do it. And you can take the time off and things like will still be there. But she prepared herself. She did the intentional work ahead of time to where she put herself in a position that she could. She had really been focusing on her goals and her desires, and she was really focusing on where she was at. And she set this goal to take this time off, and she prepared herself and she was able to do it. And so, and I'm not saying just take time off and everything's going to just be perfect. I'm saying that she set a goal to do this. And by hitting that goal, she showed us that it's the intentional work that we do. It's not the 9 to 5, the rat race work. It's not the grind, grind, grind. It's the intentional, desirable work that we're doing when we're in the right state of mind, when we're in the right, healthy, vibrating energy, when we're feeling good, when we're feeling excited to do what we do. Imagine when you go to work and you're like, oh, great, I got to clock in. Oh, great, I don't want to be here. I can't wait to clock out. This sucks. How long does that day feel? So long. It drags on. You're miserable. You're not like everybody around you is cranky. Everybody around you is complaining. It just drags on and on and on. Feel like you're there forever. An 8-hour day feels like a 14-hour day. Okay. Then picture yourself going in there and you're so stoked to go in. You're so excited to go help people. You're so excited to start your day. You're so happy that you get to do what you do. You love what you do. You're so passionate about it that it just literally lights your fire. And you literally, like, your 8-hour day feels like a 4-hour day because your attitude is everything. We can set all the healthy boundaries we want, but without a healthy attitude, it won't matter. And so sometimes you have to also look at your circle and look at the people around you and say, am I a part of this negative Nancy stuff? Am I a part of this toxicity? You have to call yourself out and be accountable. And that's part of setting healthy boundaries is, and it's part of your self-image is working on yourself. And so are you accountable for your actions and your behaviors? And what can you work on? What kind of attitude do you have about the situation? Can you improve that? How can you improve that? What could you do? Not everybody else. You're not telling everybody else how to improve themselves to make things better. Only you. You can only control you. So what could you do differently? Because I'm going to tell you, a 99.9% of the time, when we're seeing or we're feeling that low energy, it's because we're allowing it, because no one else is in charge of our emotions. We are in charge of our emotions. So where are your emotions attached to the situation? How are they attached to the situation? What are they at? Where are they vibrating? Like, are they high or low, positive or negative, right? Or are they neutral? Or are they all over the place, chaotic, like up and down, up and down? One minute you're fine, the next minute you're anxious, the next minute you're frustrated, the next minute you're okay, the next minute you're happy. Like, I've had jobs where it's made me like that, not gonna lie, where I'm just all over the place, chaotic, okay, no balance. And so you have to think about that and like decide like where are you at and what does this do and what do you bring to the table? And then you can make those minor tweaks to your attitude. Start doing positive affirmations. Start doing self-image work and talking in the mirror about how awesome you are and how much you love your job and what you love about it. Think of the good qualities and the things. I get to serve people. I get to help people do this. I get to encourage people to do this. I get to be the person that, brings the coffee in the morning. Like, if you're not the person that brings the coffee in the morning and no one does, be that person, bring the coffee in the morning. Like, show up as the future version of yourself that you'd want to become. Like, who would you want to become in 10 years? Be her, be him. Why can't you? No one's stopping you from making those minor tweaks but you. And if people are saying, oh, you're changing, that's good. You want to evolve. We're supposed to change. We're not supposed to stay stagnant. So if you're hearing those things, don't take those as a negative. That's good. Even if they think it's negative, it's not. Change is inevitable. And so when you're setting those healthy boundaries, you're also going to make these minor little tweaks with your attitude and your behavior and the things you do that are going to change the environment you're in. It could change the environment you're in. It can literally change the entire department you work for with just your attitude adjustment. And so I hope this helps somebody. We are going to talk more about this, I'm sure, in future podcasts. But for now, I'm going to end it there. I can't wait for you to go out and apply the things you're learning and the things that you're finding to be your truth. Because honestly, I think that's what's helped me the most is the application. I can learn things all day long. I can listen all day long. But am I applying them to my day to day? If the answer is no, today the answer becomes yes for you. Go and apply what you're learning and what you have been learning and all of the things that you've been reading and listening to, and go change the trajectory of your life and someone else's. I love you all. Have an amazing, amazing weekend.